All right, here we go. We are live. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Chris, and this is We Love Comics. Glad you are taking the time to watch my video, whether you're about to watch it live or you're watching it after it's been posted. Always appreciated. And let's get this party started. If you want to comment on the AI art, you're free to do that in the comment section. Whether it's good or bad or indifferent, I'll leave that up to you. Always appreciate people's productive mentioning of these things. Let's get a shout out for our Patreon members. If you want to join my Patreon and support my channel and the 20 to 25 stray cats I feed and take care of twice a day, every day, rain or shine, you can go to patreon.com/, we love comics. And if I can get up to 20 monthly paid members, I'm going to start doing some giveaways. So we just added a new person this week. So we're up to 13. So only 7 away from the 20 needed to get the contest started. You'll get a shout out in every single video as well. Normally, I just do the first name and last initial, unless somebody wants me to post, like, for example, their social network or YouTube channel instead. Just let me know at peacefulfeelings@yahoo.com. No problem doing that at all. So shout out to Carl Sith, well, Carl then Sith, Scott, Michael B, Kevin W, James R, Herbert R, Dan L, Kim N, Annabelle N, and our newest member, Jason B. If you have Facebook, you could check out Darth Bleak at Stephen L. Turk Author and tell him We Love Comics sent you. He just wrote a book. He just did a contest where he gave away, I think it was either 4 or 5 signed copies of his first edition of his book and mailed them out to people. I thought that was really nice. So if you want to give support with that, even if you missed or didn't enter the contest, just go to Stephen L. Turk Author and tell him We Love Comics sent you. And then last but not least, on Instagram, if you have Instagram, go check out Silver Age Surfer _comics. And again, tell them We Love Comics sent you. So if you go to patreon.com/, we love comics and do even the bare minimum to join any Patreon, which is $2 a month. Once I get to 20 paid members, you could look and see all the different giveaways I'm going to be starting to do. There is no minimum to enter the contest, but you'll get one entry for every $2 you apply to your monthly We Love Comics Patreon. So you could change that from month to month, and I'll leave that up to you. And then last but not least, looking to get some trades. I'm going to keep doing this until I get one. I'm going to make sure I show that with determination, eventually things happen. Sometimes it's just not a matter of if, it's just a matter of when. But if you see the comics on this screen, I'm trying to acquire any one of them. Now, obviously, I'd love Batman #1, but that's going to be a little bit pricey, so I'll take the next best thing. But if you have any of these books or know anybody that has one of these books, let's make a trade happen. This is how two parties can save thousands of dollars that they may or may not have. You don't have to worry about literally hundreds of dollars extra in taxes when you're buying comics online. And you don't have to worry about reporting the income for these because of the fact that trades are not taxable. So it's a great way to beat the system legally, of course, and save yourself a lot of money. So let's make this happen. And I'll do an unboxing video if I ever get one. And hopefully the person on the other end does the same, and maybe we'll get some other people to join in with this. So with that being said, let's put on the video camera. Now, this is a deal I have with PGX. As always, I want to mention to people that I do not have a contract signed. I do not get paid by PGX to do this. I am under no obligation to say anything other than my shared experience. And I'll be straightforward with people. I have been doing this now. I'm allowed to send in 4 books every month, and it's going on 7 years now. It's over 6.5 years I've been doing this. If this was not something that was worthwhile, even if it was 100% free, even if they paid for the shipping, I wouldn't do it. So I wouldn't be doing something for 7 years if it was not working out and it wasn't a good service. So, you know, anybody can fool anybody once or twice. But I would like to think I am not an unintelligent human being. So I want people to know, and this is why I do the unboxings when I receive them live. So there's never any editing, so I don't make a company look good or bad, because my channel is not about that. It's about sharing the experience, and then you get to determine whether it's something you want to try. The benefit to me is I used to get them the 4 books for free. Um, like I said, 4 books every month, but I now pay $50 to get the 4 books graded, but that includes pressings and dry cleaning, signature verification if needs be, graders notes on the back of the slab, if I want to add them, and of course the grading process. So even with that, it's fine. Of course, I have to pay for shipping and everything. But the benefit for them is hopefully they'll get a couple of new people that maybe watched my video over the years and wanted to try PGX out. I made sure I made a deal that would benefit you as well, because if you send 10 books or more to PGX and use the code We Love Comics Free Press, you can choose one of the books to press for free. If you don't choose one, they'll just pick one for you, but I would recommend doing that. And also, it was my idea, and it was nice of Daniel Patterson, the owner of PGX, to actually implement this onto his slabs. But if you want to have the graders notes applied directly onto the back of the slab, um, use the code We Love Comics Graders Notes. It's $5 per slab, and it's something where, especially if you're going to sell the book, the information's right there. All you have to do is take a picture of the back of the slab, and there's all the information. Now, of course, you can get them for free by having them email it to you, but I like having it on there, and I wish all grading companies would do that. So I got the 4 books. I will tell you the significance, if any. I will tell you the price I paid, and then I will make my basically my guesstimation about what I think the grade will be. Now, provided this is a grade that I'm based on what I think it's going to be after a pressing and dry cleaning. So, depending on what kind of problems a book may or may not have, pressings can, dramatically increase the chances of a higher grade by sometimes a whole full grade, even higher, depending if there's non-color break increases. I always recommend, no matter who you get your books graded with, get your books pressed and dry cleaned. It's worth it. I mean, for what will cost you, I mean, it depends on where you go. It could cost you anywhere from $15 to $30 to get a book pressed and dry cleaned, but a grade bump could literally increase the book hundreds, if not thousands of dollars, depending on the book. So it's definitely worth, I mean, minimal amount that you spend to potentially get maximum profit. Now, always keep in mind there are no guarantees that a pressing and dry cleaning will increase the grade. And depending on where you send your books, I've seen people do videos where they sent books to get pressed by whatever companies. I'm not going to mention any names. It could be just private individuals that they might be friends with or make deals with, where they came back and got either the same grade or even lower grade. So that is a potential. So, especially if you have a book that may have very loose staples, they could pop. If you have really severe spine roll, may not apply. If a book is very brittle, so be very careful. Make sure you know what you're doing. PGX, in my humble opinion, and through my almost 7 years of experience, their pressings and dry cleanings are top notch. Now, full disclosure, I've never done pressings and dry cleanings. Actually, I think years ago when I lived in New York, I had somebody press 4 of my books. Um, I don't remember their name because this was literally about 7 or 8 years ago. And they did a fine job, but I moved and I wasn't going to mail stuff to New York to get them pressed, especially with PGX doing it. But I never had any experience with any other companies, but I've seen videos of people with horror shows about pressing, so be very careful. But PGX has always done the pressings and dry cleanings, even sometimes better than even I thought it was. So give them a try. Even if you don't want to get your books graded by PGX, you can send your books to them and they'll press and dry clean the books. And that's the only service you want. That's what they'll do, and they'll mail your books back. They're the cheapest. They tend to be quick. And like I said, I wouldn't be doing this for 7 years if they ruined all my books. If you guys have been watching my channel for all this time, or even partially, and every video that I sent books and got books back from PGX are on this channel, dating back to the first one almost 7 years ago when I was living in New York. I mean, you could see I've sent in numerous Hulk 181s, several Daredevil #1s, Avengers #1s. I've sent in my X-Men #1. I'm currently, from the last month, sent in my Journey into Mystery 83. I mean, if they were ruining my books, I'd be pretty stupid to keep sending them books. So I want people to understand there's a lot of people out there, on the internet, that you could be a person that just came on to the internet for the first time, wanted to help save the world and donate millions of dollars to people and help them better their lives, and somebody would come along and say something not nice about them. So there's always going to be people on the internet that are going to have, you know, beef with businesses for some reason. I have never been loyal to a business unless they've been loyal or good to me. Um, I don't understand, like, for example, Sony PlayStation, Xbox people fighting. I mean, I have both consoles. What's wrong with having both? What's wrong with, you know, liking some parts of one console and some of another? I mean, when I used to drink soda, I would drink Coke and I would drink Pepsi. I preferred Coke, but that didn't mean Pepsi was evil. So I never understood this up. So there's going to be many people online that'll bash PGX. Now, warranted, somebody might have had a bad experience. Well, you could say that about every single corporation and company in the entire universe throughout history. You can have millions of people have a good experience with a company and one person has a bad experience. It's like comments. You can have 1,000 positive comments and one really negative comment, and people will focus on the negative. So all I can say to everybody out there is if you've never tried PGX, I wouldn't be doing this for 7 years if I didn't think it was worth it and I didn't think they were doing a good job. Again, I don't get paid. I don't have a contract with them where I'm obligated to say nice things. I like the freedom that they allow me to share their personal experience, and that's why I think some people um, appreciate what I do. And again, that's why I do these videos live. So this way, there's no editing, there's no fancy, camera manipulation. I'm not trying to do something really fancy to get people to pay attention. I'm just like, here it is, make your own mind. So I've rambled enough. Let's get into the books. Now, if you've been watching lately, I'm sending in one of these issues every month until it's fulfilled. So it's going to take about a year because there's I think, total of 13 issues. I sent in issue one probably a year or two ago. I sent in issue zero in the last one, so this is issue number two. This is Avengers vs. X-Men. This is just the regular edition of this book. There's plenty of variants out there, so this is a book I've been recommending people get for a long time because they're pretty much going to, I mean, unless something happens, there's no guarantee, but it's pretty well known that they might be doing an Avengers vs. X-Men movie. Obviously, there's probably a couple of years down the line, but that's why you could get these books for a decent price. Now, every single one of the books, it's a 13 issue series, starting at issue zero and ending at issue 12. I got this 3 or 4 years ago. Every single one of these books that I got in the set are signed either 5 signatures or 6 signatures. This particular one has 5 signatures on it. It's signed by Jimmy Chung, Jason Aaron, Matt Fraction, Laura Martin, and Jonathan Hickman. So you can see a couple of the signatures there. There's another one right there. Sometimes it's hard to see, especially when, the cover is pretty loud as far as the colors and artwork, but they're all there. And like I said, each one has either 5 or 6 of the signatures on it. I paid a grand total of $16.89 for each one of the books. To me, I think with 5 signatures on it is a steal and still worth getting if you could find a good deal. The idea is to get books like this before movies happen, and if they don't happen, if you buy them years in advance, you're not spending thousands and thousands of dollars on something. So if it doesn't work out, hey, you didn't invest much. So like I said, $16 and what did I say? 89 cents for a book with 5 signatures. Definitely think it's worth it. Now there's a couple of non-color breaking creases. Is that on the other book? Yeah. So this one's actually in good shape. The next one I'm going to show you actually has the little dent, but it's a non-color breaking dent. Uh, I always say, even if I think this is a 9.8, I'm never going to assume it's a 9.8 because page 13 could have a bend that I didn't see. I mean, especially when it's higher grade books, I'm not going to take the book out and look at every single page with a microscope. So I might have missed something, but I doubt there's any coupons cut or any writing in a book like this that's pretty much brand new. I mean, this has only been in the last decade or so this came out. But I'm going to predict, I always predict between a 9.4 and a 9.8 with, of course, white pages. But we'll find out once I get it sent, and of course, I will get it pressed and dry cleaned. Next up, another one that to me is a no-brainer. I was buying these years ago. I mean, I bought a CGC 9.8 of Secret Wars number 8. back when I was living in New York. I don't remember if it was either $125 or 150. That book right now I could probably sell between 800 and 1,000, but you'd be crazy to sell a book like that now unless you had no choice and you had a bill or a medical emergency, God forbid. I hope that never is the case. But I always tell people, get books beforehand. Take the chances. It's definitely worth it. So this one to me, again, is a no-brainer. Very easy to acquire. This is Secret Wars #1. Now, this one has triple signature. It has Mike Zeck, which I love his signature. I actually met him in person. The only time I went to a Comic-Con when I was, I guess, 2021, somewhere in that area. I went to a New York Comic-Con and I got him to sign this book. Not this book, but I got him to sign a book. I think I still have the book. I think it's Avengers Annual 6. I'm not sure what it was. It's the one, no, uh, Avengers Annual 8, where it's Wolverine attacking Captain America's shield. I think it's Avengers 8. I know the issue is number 8. Correct me if I'm wrong, what book it is, but it was the one where it's a Mike Zeck cover, and he actually has Wolverine attacking Captain America's shield. Always loved that one. I don't think it's a very valuable book, but I just thought it was an iconic one to get signed. So it's signed by Matt Fraction, Bob Langston, and John Beatty, or Beatty. I'm not sure how it's pronounced. So again, they do signature verification, which, by the way, everything is in-house. So the signature verification and the pressings and dry cleanings are all in-house. So you don't have to worry about sending your books to one particular person. Then they do their thing. They have to box it up and send it to somebody else. I mean, more chances of books getting damaged, more chances of books getting lost. I like the fact that PGX has everything in one particular area. So I paid a total of $112.01 for this book. I mean, we know there's going to be Secret Wars coming. So books like this, now this is the regular edition. It's not a newsstand. I wish it was. But the fact that it's triple signed means it's not going to be, like the regular first issue. Um, right here, there's a little bit of like, it looks like somebody at some point might have dropped it a little bit. Ricky Camacho says, has PGX improved its cases? I don't think, I mean, there's one thing that people say, and I can understand this, where on the side of the case, there's a little bit, because they come all together and it cracks off. There's a little bit of residue, but that never really bothered me. But I'll tell you right now, I have been, like I said, I send in 4 books every month for 6.5 going on 7 years. Not one time has any case ever come back cracked. I've watched numerous channels from people that get books back from CGC where cases are cracked. So I don't know what you mean by having improved the cases. Are you thinking as far as protection? One of the things I like that stands out again, and I'm just saying I'm not being a favorite. I'm just saying because this is what I like. This is a CGC book. No wonder why. Okay, let's use an actual PGX book. I'm talking about, see right here on the side where they snap off, it leaves a little bit of a residue. I don't care about that. I mean, to somebody who wants perfection, yeah, that could be an issue, but cases have never cracked. One thing I like about this is it's very easy to open a PGX. I'm not going to deny that, but here's the difference. With a CGC graded book, the label is separate and not connected to one another. It's in a separate area. There's a dividing part that has plastic, and the book is here. So what people were doing was finding a way to crack this open, slide the book out, which still has this label in it, and they can put another book in. That's been what they've been doing with that CGC controversy. Now with PGX, even though the case is easy to open, this whole thing is connected to each other. In other words, they don't just put the book in this inner lining and have this separate. The whole entire inner lining includes the label. So if you tried to slide this out, the label comes with it. So you'd actually have to find a way to cut it open. So, I mean, no matter what people do, there's always going to be somebody out there with a criminal mindset that's going to do the wrong thing. But I like the fact that the label and the comic are connected with each other. So you can't just slide the comic out because the label is connected to the actual comic with PGX labels. Whether you like it or not, I mean, I don't tell people who to deal with and who to buy with. I have, as you could see, I just showed a couple of CGC books. I don't have problems buying from CGC. I just have problems with people that look the other way when a company does massive things wrong only for the price, only because they sell the most. To me, it's like either you have ethics or you don't. So to each their own with people's opinions. Life is Good says PGX cases were always my favorite part of PGX. I had the last. I had at least a dozen CGC break. I've had many people. I've seen them on many videos, just from being stored. That was the reason why I had my X-Men #1 cracked open from a CGC X-Men #1 3.0, because when I moved from New York to Florida, the case cracked. And the same thing with my CGC Deadpool 98 9.8 signed by Stan Lee. They both cracked in the moving. None of my PGX cracked. So I've had, it's just to me, the PGX cases seem to be more sturdy. Now, CGC cases look nicer, but what good is how good as it looks if you have to keep resubmitting it because the case cracked? You're not going to sell a CGC case that's cracked for the same price you would as a PGX book in the same grade that isn't cracked. So, time equals money, and people have to factor that in. If you have to keep resending in your books, I mean, first of all, remember a lot of books, people for some reason send them in at the last minute, maybe a month or two, maybe 3 or 4 months before a movie or a TV show. So you have very limited time to sell certain books. Like, for example, if you had the first appearance of Captain America lifting up Thor's hammer, you only had until the movie confirmed that situation to sell that book. Otherwise, it was going to drop. Now, if you're waiting 6 or 7 months to get your book back, you could miss out. But just imagine if you finally get the book back and the case comes to you cracked, and you now have to send it back. Now you're talking another 2, 3, 4 months to get it back. Time is money, ladies and gentlemen. Most people don't factor that into equations. So let me continue what he said. Break just from being stored, in other cases in a box, just my experience. Yeah, I agree. Let's see. Big Dabo 72 says it's a shame that very few respect PGX. I can't believe how much lower their books sell than CGC. Good for buyers though, I guess. All you have to do is look at my live auctions. Um, I have had no problem selling my PGX books. This myth of PGX books will not sell is just a myth. All you have to do, I mean, it's like anybody. If you're a bad salesperson, or you're selling books that no one wants, or you're really trying to get your exact top dollar for something, you have to learn to be flexible. Watch, I encourage anybody, watch my previous auctions. I sell key books that everybody wants that are graded by PGX. They know they were graded from me, so they don't ever have to worry about a book being switched. And I sell, like, for example, if a CGC 3.0 book sells for $1,000 and I have a PGX 3.0, I'll sell it for $949. So I'll sell it for $50 less, because also remember, especially if you're buying on eBay, you have to pay taxes on top of that. On my auctions, I don't have to pay. You don't have to pay taxes. I'm not going to charge you. So on $1,000 book, you're probably spending about $150 extra in taxes. You just got to be a good salesperson. If you cannot sell something, it's either not worth buying, or you're not giving your sales ability potential enough to make things happen. So PGX, it got a bad rap because of one situation that ended up not being even true about 10 years ago, which is why I find it funny that one situation about a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles #1 that was proven to not be right. And I've talked about it so many times, I don't even want to get into it. I mean, people can believe what they want to believe. I've talked to the owner. I know the situation. I know the person that made that video took that video down because they were going to be sued, because basically that's slander, because they took out a first print and edited the video so it looked like a first print had a second print book, which was not true. And PGX was actually going to sue the person. Person took the video down. You never heard from him again. Why? Because if that would have been taken to court, that person could have been sued for a heck of a lot of money, plus lawyers' fees and expenses. But that ruined PGX's reputation to this day, and yet CGC gets a free pass for literally hundreds of books that they knew about and tried to hide. I just don't understand that logic. I mean, like I said, I still buy CGC books. I'm just going to call out a business if they do wrong. Most people are afraid to do that. Why? Because CGC makes the most money. My thing is, if you are selling stuff and you always need the top dollar, you're never going to be successful, because you're always looking for to squeeze every nickel and dime from people. And I'm not saying this to anyone in particular. Um, Sometimes you got to be flexible. That's why I literally can sell in my auctions thousands of dollars worth of merchandise. I'm never going to tell the exact amount that I sold, but you can calculate it if you watch my auctions that I've done. I do anywhere from a 3 month to 2 year payment plan um with no interest. You got to be flexible. So, and also, you if a book sells for 1,000, sell it for 949. If you buy it for cheap, you have leeway, you have flexibility. If you're always looking for top dollar, you're going to end up making a sale or two. Well, the average person will make one sale. I'll make 20 sales for every one sale they make, because I'll give the books that people want, because I know the ones they want, and I'm going to sell it a little bit cheaper than what they can get it for the lowest sold on eBay, and give them a payment plan with no interest, so they can actually have the ability to buy something and not have to have all that money up front that they may not have or may not be able to spend. So you just got to do things differently. You know, if you're a good salesperson and you're honest, you can sell anything. But if you're a salesperson that just thinks money only, or being dishonest with people, yeah, you might be able to sell somebody something once, but they're not coming back. If you watch my channel, my auctions, you'll see the same people buy from me over and over again. Why? Because I tell people what they are, what they're getting. I don't send them something different. As soon as they make final payments, I send it out that day or the very next business day. I am always making sure their books are well protected. I'm always making sure I'm in communication with the people. I'm always making sure I'm honoring when I say payment plans. And if they're running a little late and they let me know about it, I have no problem with that. You just got to work with people. Most people don't do that. And that's why they will never have the potential that they could have if they put the effort in. Remember, in life, you get what you give. If you give nothing, why are you expecting to get everything? Just doesn't work that way. All right, so let's read a couple of these. Jason says CGC is having problems with their inner wells bending books. They're investigating, he put in quotes. You know, having CGC investigate their own problems is like having criminals investigate crimes. It just makes no sense. It's like when there's problems with the Fed or the CIA or someone in government where there's corruption, and they end up having a committee of government people to investigate. You ever wonder why they never find anything? I mean, it's insane. So, I mean, there you go. I don't know about this one. I haven't heard about it, so I cannot confirm or deny that to be accurate. But if it is, it's just another CGC situation that many people will give a pass by, simply because they'll make the most money. And if you're all about just making every dollar you can get, well, number one, you can't be that great of a business person, because if you're buying books at a really high price and have a very low margin, well, of course you're going to try and squeeze every nickel and dime. But if you do my videos where I talk about how to buy books, given tips for years, I mean, there are still books that are coming out now. Well, not coming out now, that books that people are talking about now to buy, that I was telling people to buy in 2017, that still are relevant today. There's always a way. If you're not successful, that means you're doing something wrong. And ego makes people not ever stop and think, well, wait a minute, if something's not working, I shouldn't blame society, I shouldn't blame life, shouldn't blame this, I shouldn't blame that. I should look at myself and say, what am I doing wrong? Or if you want to think of it positively, what can I do to make it better? But most people just don't have that ability to look in themselves and say, okay, things are not working. What do I need to do to improve it? And again, if I buy a book for $60 and it's $1,000 book, I can easily give it away for 500. Somebody would be thrilled to buy it at that price, and I've still made a ton of profit. But if you keep buying it with the fear of missing out mentality, and you're spending top dollar and you have this little wiggle room, of course you're going to want every dime you can get. So that's why I can sell a CGC book, I can sell a PGX book, I can sell a CBCS book, I can even sell an EGS book and make money on it and not have to nickel and dime people to get the ultimate penny to make sure I have the top amount. If that's all you're about, people are not going to buy from you, or they're not going to buy from you as often if you're not willing to be flexible and be able to work with people. That's just life, and that's with everything. So let's see. Big Devil says that's true. Buyer saves on taxes and seller saves on ridiculous eBay fees. Yeah, there's a lot of good things that people don't mention. And, this is why, I mean, I don't understand why my channel is hated so much. I mean, at this point, I don't care. I mean, people are allowed to have their opinions, and people are going to believe whatever they want to believe. I mean, my reputation got ruined by a big YouTuber, and who's still relevant to this day, who's very popular. I won't mention their name, who made a lie out and said I was getting paid by PGX. And even when I had a call, which is still on my channel, with PGX owner stating that I do not get paid, they didn't even do a retraction other than making a comment that no one saw. It's like a newspaper defaming somebody, and then they get sued, and then they do a retraction 7 months later on page 34 in a tiny little article that no one's directed to. It did nothing, and that ruined my reputation. If you watch my videos, you could see, and they're all still there, for years, telling people how to buy comics, what to buy, what I recommended, and most people chose to not listen. And that's why, like, for example, I've seen people talk about how comics are going down a little bit. If you don't know anything about investing, things go like this in the markets. We did have a Great Depression at one point. Did it stay there? No, eventually it goes up. The smart people sell at the top, they buy back at the bottom, and then continue that motion. You can make money even on downturns, because if you know how to buy things properly and know how to find deals because you research and have knowledge about what you're investing or speculating in, you have much more room. So even if prices go down, you just make less profit. People really need to learn how to do things properly. Let go of the egos, because like I said, my channel gives away all of my information, all of my eBay secrets for free. I don't ask for anything. And boy, have I sure gotten it. But, let's get back to the comics, because I'm sure, very few people watch my channel as it is. This is a rambling video. Most people aren't going to watch it. If you're watching it, bless you and thank you. So I had this for so long. I predicted this between a 9.2 and a 9.8, because on the bottom here, it looks like the person, maybe when it was mailed to me, or, maybe the person that owned it might have dropped it at some point. There's a little bit of a scrunch, but it's minor, and it does not break any color or anything. There's no tear. It's hard to see. It's a little tiny bit on the bottom. So pressing could fix that. So we'll find out when I send it in. All right, this one to me is a no-brainer. This is a book I've been telling people to continually get. Price has gone down a little bit, which is, for me, a buying opportunity. Most people are scared, and they turn around and start selling and giving stuff away. I mean, if you're 98 years old and you're on your deathbed, then yeah, you should sell, and you should get as much money as you can before you pass on, unless you're going to give everything to your family. But if you're my age, which I'm 53, going to be 54 in November, or younger, and you're, knock on wood, healthy, you have a while. So stop getting afraid when you see prices go down, because they'll go back up, especially when you're talking a key character. Now, of course, this is New Mutants 98, and everybody says, oh, yeah, it's got such a high print run. Well, it only has about 850,000 total print run. Which, how many of these, because I've been saying for years, for the first 15, 20 years of this book, it was insignificant. I bought two of these cover price when they came out. One of them I didn't even bother to put in a bag and board for 15 years because that's how relevant that book was at the time. Nobody cared about it. So how many of these are in high grade? Now this one, as you can see, is a newsstand variant, which is going to be rarer than the regular version. But not only is it a newsstand variant, it is a Mark Jewelers variant. Now I had one of these that I bought earlier this year that graded a 9.2 that I spent about, I think, like $860, somewhere in the $850 to $860 range. This one looks to be, and the seller said it's at least a 9.2. Now, I don't know if they ever got it graded or not. They never told me, but they said it's at least a 9.2. But then again, who knows what these days with sellers, if they're honest or they know, they're just making a speculation. But let's assume, because I put this as between a 9.2 and a 9.6 with the pressing and dry cleaning with off-white to white pages. The other one I spent, like I said, between $850 and $867. It's somewhere in that range. I don't have it offhand. That came back in 9.2. If this came back in 9.2, even a 9.0 with a Mark Jewelers variant, because by the way, a Mark Jewelers variant is only between 5 and 7% of a total print run. So these are rare, especially in high grade. A 9.8 of this book sells between $10,000 and $12,000. And that's on the downturn at that price because these are hard to acquire. I paid $561.65 for this book. I actually had this person listed originally, I believe, at $750. We went back and forth. He actually relisted it twice and nobody wanted it, so he kept lowering the price. I tried to get it for 500. He wouldn't go that low, but he went to 550 and it was free shipping, so after taxes, or was it 520? It was 525 because after taxes it came out to 561 and change. So I paid almost $300 less for this in what could potentially be the same grade. I mean, we'll find out. Could be even a higher grade, but when there are downturns, because everybody said, when the movie comes out, the price will go down afterwards. Yeah, but it's not going to zero. This book is not going to be sold for $20. You're not going to get a Mark Jewelers variant in high grade for two, 300 unless you buy it from somebody that doesn't know what it is. And that book, when Deadpool goes in another movie and he starts starring in the Avengers, and maybe they make Deadpool 4, even though, you know, you know, Ryan Reynolds said he wouldn't do Deadpool 4. Well, Hugh Jackman said he was retired after Logan. I mean, how many people say they're done and then they come back? I mean, Tom Brady, didn't he say at one point he was done? They ended up coming back after he quote unquote retired. So, sometimes they just contractually have to be obligated to say things like that. Or maybe at the time they believe what they say, and then people do have the right to change their mind. So to me, that book is a no-brainer. If you think that's a bad opportunity, that's great. That just means I didn't have to worry about you buying the book. I'm the one that got it. I'm the one that's going to do well on it. So sometimes you have to not be afraid to take chances. You have to know about things and you have to watch. A dip is a buying opportunity. Buy low and sell high. But when do people most of the time buy stuff? When it's skyrocketing. I'll give you a prime example. I was telling people back in 2016, 2017 to buy up as many Ultimate Fallout 4s that you can buy. I was buying them. I bought between 10 and 20 of them, sold about half of them in the period. I was actually giving them away at one point. Literally gave one of my viewers one of my New Mutants 98 for free back in the day. But I was paying between $10 and $12 a piece. Nobody hardly ever listened to me and didn't buy them. When did people start buying the New Mutants? I mean, the Ultimate Fallout 4? When it started to go to $100, then 200, then 500, then 1,000. When it got to 1,000, people were going crazy for that book. All 20 books that I bought, I would have been able to sell for less than what somebody would buy for one. I mean, it's ridiculous. Most people buy when the praise is at the point it's at the highest peak. It's the wrong time to be buying. Now, obviously, if you were 5 years old when the book first came out and you didn't have your parents' ability to buy you that book, that's one thing. But if you're an adult at that time and you cannot take a chance on something, you're missing out. So I could literally, let's say that book peaked at 1,500, and let's say now because of bad whatever, or people paranoid, or people like making negative videos because it gets clicks. Let's just be honest. Let's say that book went from 1,500 to 900. I could sell that book for 500 and make about a $490 profit. And somebody else would be like, wow, that book's selling for 800, 900. Somebody just sold it for 500. That's a steal. See how you can be flexible and work with people? But if you buy it for 1,000 and it went up to 1,500 and you didn't sell, and it goes down to 800, well, it'd be ridiculous for you to sell at that point. Most people think, well, I have to sell it because it's going to keep going down. A fool and their money are soon parted. If you want to listen to the negative Nancys in the world that are always telling you, oh, a crisis is coming and there's bad situations. Now, there's nothing wrong with preparing for something, because on my other channel, I talked about economic crashes. That is reality that has happened in the monetary system since the days of the Roman Empire. It's good to be prepared. It's bad to have your life think your life is going to die and everybody is going to, fall out of the sky and drop dead. That mentality. I hate people that make what I call fear porn videos. And I even see it in the comic book community where they're talking about, oh, the comic book community is going to crash and everybody is going to lose everything. Well, I say it as, let it crash, because then I'll buy up all the books at a cheap price, wait maybe 2, 3, 4, 5 years, watch them all go back up again, and make a killing. People don't realize, because I always say you need realize to realize, that during the Great Depression, more millionaires came out of the Great Depression than any other time in U.S. history. Why? Because while people were panic selling and buying at the top and keep buying, because everybody was saying everybody and their grandmother was buying stocks, so that's what you had to do. And 99% of the people that bought stocks only bought them because somebody else said, look how much money you could make, and they didn't research and they didn't know what they were doing. When the crash happened, all the people that made a poop ton of money sold near or at the top, watched it demolish, and bought them up at pennies on the dollar, waited for them, what, 5 years, 10 years? Watch them shoot back up again and end up being multimillionaires. So if you want to follow the sheep, what the masses do, because you can look around the world, the majority of people, I'm sorry to say, are idiots. Or let's just put it nicer, willfully naive. And they'll follow anything without question. That's a foolish way to live your life. Think for yourself, do your own due diligence, and then reap the benefits or lose out, because sometimes even if you do the best research, you can lose. But most people are afraid to do that because then they have to take the responsibility on for themselves. When they just let others dictate their choices, they could say, well, it's their fault, because no one ever wants to take responsibility. Not the best way to live life, in my opinion. So let me see. Travis says, I need a Batman 181 and Detectives 359. Hook me up. I literally just got these, so I'm not selling them. This is not a 181, it's a 251. And I just got this the other day, 359. Which, by the way, I only paid $335 for this book. Deals are out there. You just got to spend time looking for them. And this one I spent $180 on. Yeah, it's a 2.0. Well, go look up a 2.0. They're selling for $333 on eBay. So the deals are out there. Just keep trying. Don't give up. You get what you give. You give minimal effort. Don't be surprised you don't get anything back. I will literally, at times when I have the money or I have the PayPal ability, I will spend hours refreshing the newly listed books every 3 seconds for hours until I find deals. But then I'll find deals. I'll show you. I don't want to squish any of my books. Right here. How much do you think I paid for this with shipping and handling and with taxes? It wasn't graded. I bought it raw. It was a newly listed book. I sent it in to get graded. It came back a 3.5. You know how much I paid for this year? $71.66. That, by the way, is Fantastic Four number 52, first appearance of Black Panther. Not a reprint, as you could see with the 12 cents. Came back a 3.5. So, yeah, not a high grade, but you don't think I could sell this two, 300, give it away, and somebody'd be happy with the book. So deals are always out there. You just have to be willing to take the effort to find it. All right, so last but not least, this one is one of the few books where I just think that it was undergraded by PGX. So I am cracking this one open. I'm going to send this back. This is my Amazing Spider-Man number 238. It is a Mark Jewelers variant, so they did mark that down. It does have the tattoo inside it, so it is complete. But this one, I mean, if you look at the Grader's Notes, it only has one thing of Grader's Notes. When I saw the back of this, I thought, because I thought when I sent it in, I thought this was between, let me find it, between a 9.0 and a 9.4. It came back a 7.5. And it says multiple stress lines along the spine, cover and edge wear. This book is beautiful. Now, with every grading company, it's based on somebody's, human ability to make a guess on something or their opinion. I send in 4 books every month for going on 6.5 to 7 years now. There have been about 3 times where I questioned the grade. The other 2 or 3 times, it was much higher than what I thought it should be. This one, I think, is much lower. This should be minimum of an 8.5, in my opinion. I don't normally crack these out. If it's something like a 0.5, I wouldn't do it. But this one looks too nice. I mean, I'll show you the edge. There is not one color break increase, which means it's got to be on the very edge of the book. But that's not going to warrant a 7.5. I mean, the edges are sharp. That is not a color break increase right there, by the way. That's actually part of the artwork. The corners are sharp. The edges are sharp. I mean, look at that corner. For a book that came out in the early 80s, when did this come out? 83? Yeah, 1983. I just think this one was undergraded. It happens. It's not PGX did it wrong. No, it's just a human was grading it, and they probably just, in my opinion, undergraded it. So I'm going to take the chance and resend this in. Now, if it comes back a 7.5, then that means it deserves a 7.5, and then I'm not going to do anything about it. But I think this should come back much higher than a 7.5. So I'm going to resubmit it, and we're going to find out. So those are the 4 books. I want to thank everybody. That's probably the most amount of comments during the live chat that I've received in a while. And ladies and gentlemen, I just posted a link in there. I sell comic book mystery boxes. If you go on YouTube and type in the search engine, "We Love Comics Mystery Box," you'll see several people that bought some very expensive packages of mine. I think one of them is somebody bought one of my diamond packages, which is about a $1,500 mystery box. I sell mystery boxes anywhere from a $25 mystery box up to a $5,000 platinum mystery box. Go check them out. Just click on the link that I provided, but it's also in the description of the video if you're watching it later on. If you click on the link, it'll take you to a site that will show pyramids and soaps and things like that. You're on the right one. That's actually my website because I sell those pyramids and stuff as well. I design and make them all myself personally. Just scroll down to the bottom and you'll see the section with the comic books. But trust me, you'll get some good books, especially if you're buying some of the bigger packages. Take a shot. And just like I said, watch the videos of other people doing them, and you'll see the kind of books that I send out. If you're buying an expensive mystery box, you're not getting a bunch of fillers. You're going to get some good stuff. So let's once again show my AI art. If you want to critique it, good, bad, or indifferent, by all means, please do in the comments section. Again, if you want to join my Patreon, go to patreon.com/WeLoveComics. You'll get a shout out in every single video. We're up to 13 people. Once we get to 20 people every month, there's giveaways, as you could see right here before you. So you get 1 entry for every $2 you apply to your We Love Comics monthly account with me. And you just go to patreon.com/WeLoveComics. And speaking of comics, I'm trying to acquire any of those books via trade. Let's make it happen. So if you know anybody that has those books, watch the video I made about 2 months ago showing all the books that I would be willing to trade, and anything is at least asking. So if somebody wanted to get my, Mad magazine, this is number, I think, what is it? It's the first Mad magazine. It's not the first issue because Mad started as a comic. I think it's issue 23. It's either 23 or 25. But if somebody wanted this, or if somebody wanted one of the original Star Wars toys, or anything like that, this is worth about $8,000. It's an 8.5 with a 10 signature. LeBron James signed card, graded by my own personal collection when I sent it in to get graded. Any of these could be asked about. So it's not just the ones on the video. But, I mean, let's make a trade happen. Life is Good says, I'm buying a house soon. Want one of those pyramids. Yeah, I would love. I haven't sold the pyramid in a while now. I don't promote it because to me, um, I don't know why. I guess maybe it just I fell out of favor. Not, I still love doing it, but at one point I was doing so many of them, I kind of got burnt out. But I make them all custom. They're all one of a kind pieces, and I've had some people have good reviews. As a matter of fact, I had one person that bought for himself, said they loved the energy that came out of him, and has purchased from me for his entire family at least 7 times, and literally bought thousands of dollars worth, where it would take me about 3 weeks to make everything, like personal pyramids and everything. And they got such. I've had so many people over the years tell me, whether you believe in this stuff or anything, it's irrelevant. Belief is just a matter of opinion because, you could believe or not believe. Either way, you're wrong because you don't know. But I can understand where most people won't understand that. I mean, you could literally attach a copper wire to a gem and get a radio signal. So there's more to crystals than people understand. I'm not going to be here to convince anybody, especially on a comic book channel. But if you ever want to, Life is Good. If you get one, if you place an order, just make sure you let me know that it's from your channel and that you follow me on YouTube with my We Love Comics. I'll make sure I throw something extra in for you, or I'll make the pyramid a little bit bigger. But yeah, there's a lot of them that have some positive energy, and I've loved making them. Do I have any near me? Yeah, here's just one. It's a basic one that I've made. It's got like real copper. That's all solid copper. This one isn't as pretty as most of the ones that I do. Yeah, I'll show you a better one. Most people are not going to care about this, but that's all right. Here's another one that I make these all myself. So that's all filled with amethyst. These are all genuine crystals. That is a terminated quartz crystal. And again, you could see actual copper. That's all turquoise there. So for me, it's a fun hobby. I mean, sometimes if people don't understand what these things are really for and they want them just for decoration, you know, they'd be expensive paperweights, but they're not tremendously expensive. Except, I mean, I made the largest pyramid I think anyone's ever made. It was literally like 10 inches by 11 inches. It had actual gold and actual silver in it. I sold it to somebody for about $1,000 and they absolutely loved it. I mean, this thing was literally, it cost me like $160 to ship. I mean, this thing was probably 50 pounds. I mean, literally, you'd need two hands to hold it. I think the image is still on my website. I don't think I'd ever make that one again because that literally took me like 2 days to make and was, when I talk time consuming, because basically each layer, and this is a small one. Each layer, you have to wait for the resin to dry before you can apply the next little layer. Then you got to wait for that to dry, then the next little layer. The beautiful thing is now that I live in Florida, I could make them almost all year round, and the resin dries a lot quicker than when I lived in New York. But yeah, I love making these. And since I haven't made any in a while, I'd get that back. So Life is Good. If you ever did, just message me and I'll take care of you. So this has been a long video, but people have been sticking around. So thank you for that. Let's do today's surprise subscriber shout out. We're going to go with Travis. I'm going to just say Travis D because I don't want to screw up the name. And he's looking for Batman 181 and Detective Comics 359. So if anybody has any of those books, contact them. If you want to post the way to contact people, please do. And then Big Debo 72. So both of you are today's surprise subscriber shout outs. What that means is once this video uploads, if you have a YouTube channel and you want to post the link to either your specific video or your channel, you could do that. If you don't have that, you'd rather do a link to your social networks, you could do that instead. Or maybe if you sell anything on Amazon or Etsy or eBay, and you want to promote something you sell, I'll let you decide which link you'd prefer to do. Keep in mind that all links will go directly to spam at first because I have to make sure I verify that they are kid friendly. So I do not promote adult websites. I do not promote things like prank channels, for example. So I will always verify a link. So if you do see a link, ladies and gentlemen, in the comment section, it means I did check it. I did verify it. I would always recommend if you see somebody's link, go check them out, go support them. Let's show what real communities are all about. So that's my story, and I'm sticking to it. Thank you for everybody watching today. I'm honored that this many people watched. It's been a long time, and thank you to everybody that participated. Hopefully, you'll check out that website. Hopefully, you'll join my Patreon because, like I said, not only does it help support being able to send these comics to get graded and do the videos that I do, like I said, I literally support between 20 and 25 stray cats, and I feed them twice a day, every day, take them to the vet if they need it. I've paid to get them spayed and neutered so they don't continue the process. These were all cats that people abandoned out in the streets. Many of them were inside cats that people just literally threw out of their houses. I think that's disgusting. But if anything, I take care of them. I even put things like um, probiotics and stuff in their food, so they're all healthy and no rat problems around this neighborhood. I could tell you that. But any support on the Patreon, probably 95% of that goes to helping the cats. So if you want to contribute, just go to We Love Comics, Patreon / We Love Comics. And like I said, if we can get up to 20 people, we can do the giveaways starting that very month. So thank you very much for watching. I really look forward to your comments and check out some of my other videos. And don't forget, it's not you, it is not I, it is We Love Comics. Thanks for watching, everybody. Really appreciate you. Enjoy the rest of your day. And don't forget to have your trolls.